What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you read the title, The Egg? We are Corina Blanco and Fabiana Márquez, and we are here to analyze the literary figures and the elements of fiction of this short story created by Weir. Well, actually, the first inference that I made when I read this title is that I was going to read a funny story or a story for kids, but when I came to the end, I realized how deep and how philosophical and how mind-blowing it actually is, because you start to question a lot of things about life, about being human, about living on earth, like what is time, what is God, and that's why I can fit this type of stories inside of a philosophical scientific genre due to it treats themes such as I mentioned it before, and I'd also get out like ethic, morals, the purpose of life, the purpose of living, what is right, what is wrong, what is fake or what is true or false, and that's why I find this history so interesting, because at the beginning you don't expect that a history of 4 pages or 3 pages and a half can change how you see life and how you see everything. Weir really caught me up in his short story because he describes the plot in an amazing way. He uses the dramatic or progressive plot in which he starts with the exposition. He describes like the place, but the egg has the particularity that all that we know about this place and its description is that it is the afterlife and there was nothingness. I think it is amazing because the picture that you have inside of your mind about what is nothingness is just yours. Everybody, I think that everybody sees the nothingness in a particular way, and that is amazing because that is supernatural. And then Weir started to describe the rising action, that is when God explains to you that you are just one soul coexisting along itself. There is a wow moment, but the most like impacting one is when we come to the climax. It is the part that God takes you by your shoulders and states that you are one of His kind, but now you are a God that currently is just a fetus. And then we come to the end, which is the resolution, in which God sends you to your next life, and then the story it's over. Did you notice that I used the word supernatural? Well, we are toward a man versus supernatural conflict, and actually I couldn't fit this conflict inside of any of the ones that the teacher gave us in classes. So I started a new research, and I realized that there's some other type of conflict, and a man versus supernatural is one of them. And this is because we cannot certainly say what happens after death. And this conversation, this meeting goes totally beyond of the scientific understanding. That's why when you the reader, the main character, when you came to this place, to the afterlife, you start to make all those questions like, where am I? where's my family, what happened to me, because in your world, in the earth, this place is unknown. Like, you don't know that you don't knew that this place existed until you came here, you came there, because in a scientific way, the afterlife has no explanation. Now I want to talk in a deeper way about those two characters, like you and I. It is a little bit tricky to explain this because, well, if you already read the short story, I really hope so. You know that what I'm talking about, because the narrator voice is in first person, or it is an internal narrator, since God uses I to talk about himself and you to talk about the reader, who is also the main character. Even though God is not the principal character, he and the Weir decide to make him the narrator of the story. So, well, what we know about you is that you are every single person in the world, even Hitler, even Jesus, even the first person that passes through your mind when you think in a human being. So there's not like a very detailed explanation about who are you, but what we know about this character that is in the middle in the meeting, and is that he has 48 years and he came from Earth. Well, it is reasonable that there's no more explanations, because you also have a wife and a kid, but it is very reasonable that there's no detailed explanation, because you are the person that you want to be. I mean, you are everybody, so how can I describe it? Well, but when we talk about God, we have a detailed explanation. I want to read a quote that says, "To you, I didn't look like God. I just look like some man, or possibly a woman, some vague authority figure, more of a grammar school teacher." I love this part because here on Earth we are familiarized with this idea of God being a big authority, of like being above of every single one of us. But here Andy just describe him just like, or equal, like a normal person. And I think that idea of seeing God as like someone just like you and me, with skin and bones, it is incredible. I have no words for this masterpiece that Andy Weir did. Well, one of my favorite things here is that he uses a positive tone. He uses a lot of positive adjectives. I have an example. This is from the part in which God takes you by your shoulders and says, "Your soul is more magnificent, beautiful, and gigantic than you can probably imagine." You know, magnificent, beautiful, gigantic, and I also have those other words, admiring and kindness. Those are words that transmits good things. Like, it is not negative at all, just like the opposite. It makes you like feel good, and that's when I talk about the mood that the I, or like I as a reader had. I feel very comfortable, warm, because he presents those philosophical ideas in a very friendly way, and it is the way he writes is so like simple, but at the same time you have all those questions in your head, and you feel like, oh my god, I have to start thinking in what I actually, where is my position about this, about what is the time, if God exists or no, if there is a probability of having a meeting with God. And he do this in a very comfortable way. I felt so comfortable. I think that it is the best word for describe it. And as I said before, he used those great words that make you feel like happier, or like makes you feel positive in towards the text. So when we get to this point of starting questioning all those themes, we can make a little list of the most important of them. The ones that really caught me up are like, first, how God looks like, the respect that we have to have for others. Is there an afterlife? Every religion is right or wrong. Is there more than a one God? Are we God? So I hope you feel interested by those questions, and you start to analyze them and to look information about them, so you can start to make your own conclusions, because philosophy is part of us. And now Corina is going to talk a little bit more about the literary figures. Thank you.